Good morning, class. Eric Mallow here to tell you about my time at Marvel Entertainment as a video intern. One of the most renowned entertainment companies, Marvel's mission is to use its characters in licensing, entertainment, publishing, and toy production. The company began in 1939 as Timely Publications, switched to Atlas Comics in the early 50s, and became the Marvel we know today in 1961. At Marvel, I worked directly with the video department. Although I didn't have any specific project to work on throughout the semester, I was integrated into the video team just as any other member. In doing so, I took part in the projects which had upcoming deadlines. Some notable tasks of mine were to create lower thirds for WWE footage, including The Rock, John Cena, Mark Henry, and The Big Show, as well as make lower thirds for the C2E2 conference, Chicago's pop culture event, help film Marvel's The Watcher, I even got to be an extra in one of the clips, and create other assets which were used in video segments throughout the semester. This semester was very much a success, and there was a lot that went into making it one, so let's go take a look. Let's start out by taking a look at the learning objectives which I set up in the beginning of this semester. First one, expand my range of knowledge of industry programs and tools. And this one was a big one for me at Marvel, as I learned many different programs, tools, and techniques throughout the semester which are useful throughout all of the digital media field. In regards to programs, I mostly used Final Cut Pro and Adobe After Effects. These two programs are industry standards that have a lot of power in them. Final Cut Pro is the standard for video editing, so trimming clips, rearranging them, outputting as a final composition. Adobe After Effects has many different applications, but I used it mostly for creating motion graphics, such as those lower thirds you just saw. Number two, learn a workflow process of the industry. Prior to being at Marvel, I kind of just did projects. I never really had a step-by-step process. But my time there, I was able to learn one. So I saw how to bring footage from initial filming to editing, then to a final output, whether it be for a web or mobile device. Number three, have a working experience which utilizes skills learned at Poly. This one was really awesome because I have had a couple of years here at Poly, and I learned many things here. So I was able to apply them at Marvel in the real-world industry. So I had knowledge of how to use cameras, a little bit of lighting setup, and also how to use some programs like Final Cut Pro. I did have a little bit of experience with it going into Marvel. Number four, gain experience to increase marketability for employment. So at Marvel, I was able to take those skills which I learned at Poly and amplify them. So my basic knowledge of Final Cut Pro greatly increased to a much higher level. I learned Adobe After Effects from the ground up, and After Effects is used all over the industry in many different applications. So that definitely helped me out. Number five, work in an office setting in the digital media field. So I didn't really know how digital media worked in the real world, if it was office-based, cubicles, but at Marvel I got this experience. So we did work in a cubicle setting, and we had different teams inside digital media. Like I said, I was with the video team. But I also did help out with the AR team, augmented reality. I helped them out with shoots, operating boom mics, even editing their footage on occasion. So it was really awesome to see how digital media in the real-world industry is operated. Here are some recommendations for future Marvel interns. Maximize your time in the office to gain knowledge. Marvel is really awesome with the way they treat their interns. The position is seen as a learning position. So you can ask any questions you want, and your supervisor will be more than happy to help you out. Also on that note, ask your supervisor to review your works periodically. This is a really great way to get feedback, and the feedback can help you see things from someone else's eyes. So while you see your project your way, someone else may catch something that doesn't seem quite right or doesn't quite flow as well as it could. Also ask your supervisors for ideas if you're having a tough time. They can really help you out to get an idea for a character or maybe a scene that'll just be mind-blowing and it'll look really awesome when it's finished. You can also ask your supervisors for their opinion on any personal works you have, as long as the time is appropriate. They're really helpful when it comes to demo reels and any kind of work that you may have on the side that you're not quite sure if it's right where it should be. Talk about the industry and the future. So obviously, going in as an intern, you don't really have that much experience, but your supervisors have plenty of it, and they're more than willing to share. So ask them what the industry is like, how to search for employment, how to begin a career in the industry. Also how to go and structure a demo reel, portfolio, website, and also they can review your reel and they'll be more than happy to give you advice on it. Always give this internship your best effort. The products are high quality, as you can see on Marvel's websites, so you gotta give it your best effort to create professional content. And the supervisors are very supportive and helpful as long as you try. So just give it your best shot and you'll have everyone else behind you giving you a hand to get the highest quality work you can do. Let's take a look at how my Marvel internship connects to my time here at Poly. So while I was at Poly, I took a total of 3 photography courses. Now these gave me the basis of how to use cameras and even just general information which is used both in still photography as well as video work. So for instance, the manual settings of a camera, so aperture, ISO, and shutter speed. Those are all critical pieces of creating an optimal exposure. Also framing, so how to set things up in a scene to create a really compelling image. I also learned about light kits and how to set up different lights to create a very pleasing scene of light on the subject. I also took some cinema courses while I was here at Poly, which are directly related to the work I do at Marvel. So at Poly I used prosumer level cameras, very similar to the ones used in the industry, and I learned how to connect the photography information to that. So again, using those manual settings, framing and such. And these cinema courses also taught me how to use Final Cut Pro. So I use Final Cut to cut footage, edit footage, rearrange it, and then output it into a final medium. So all of these instances were confirmed by Marvel, and they also showed me how important this information is. So those camera manual settings are critical, because if you have an overexposed photo, then your image is going to have blown out white spots. If you're underexposed, you'll have really dark shadows, and that's detail that once you lose, you'll never be able to get it back. I also learned about lighting kits and lighting setups, so how to light scenes for one-on-one interviews, group interviews, even outdoors. Photoshop. Now I did do Photoshop here in those photography courses and it's applied at Marvel as well because there were some instances where I had an image that had to be altered in some way or there was a hole after moving something. I had to know how to fill in that hole to keep the original image intact as much as possible. Final Cut Pro. All of the skills which I learned at Poly were applied over at Marvel and they were all critical as well. So cutting the footage, rearranging it, all of that is expected in the industry, and Final Cut Pro is the standard for doing them. Based on my internship experience, I'd be very interested in taking a course on the entire Adobe suite. After Effects was a very large part of my internship, and going into Marvel, I'd never used the program before. I learned it entirely through tutorials on my own time. And fortunately, I was able to get to a level where I output professional quality assets when they were needed. I also learned about Adobe Illustrator, which is a program that allows you to create 2D images, but they're vector-based images. So what that means is you can scale them up, shrink them down, and you'll never have any kind of image quality loss at all. So these 2 programs are critical in the industry, and I would absolutely be interested in taking a course which focuses on these 2, and also the rest of the Adobe suite, which has its own applications throughout the industry as well. Now let's take a look at some career objective related information. After Marvel, my career interest didn't so much change as expand. Originally, I was interested only in 3D, so 3D modeling, 3D animation, Pixar kind of stuff. But now having been exposed to filming, editing, motion graphics, and the greater visual side of the digital media field, I found that I enjoy all of the work and would be happy to have a career in any of them. Some things which I learned about myself. I can work well under a deadline. So the projects which I worked on had varying deadlines, some being a couple weeks, some being a few days, some being a few hours. But no matter what the timeline was, I was able to create a product of professional quality. I work well on a creative team. These deadlines would not have been able to be met if we didn't work together as a team. So everybody was given a different task. One guy works on one thing, someone else works on something else, and so on and so forth. And then at the end, all of the pieces get put together like a puzzle to create that final product. And you have to work well on the team so that is possible to do. I can graft new concepts and programs fairly well. This relates specifically to Adobe After Effects. Like I said, I went to the internship not having any knowledge of the program, and I learned it in only a few days, and even a short time after that, I was creating professional quality assets. I'm a graduating senior here at Poly, but with the few weeks that I have left, I'm attempting to improve my resume, create a demo reel, which is very critical for applying to jobs in this field, and also continue to learn and improve knowledge of these industry programs. These programs are all very powerful and all have a range of things which they can do. So it takes years and years to master them. So there's always something new to learn, and I'm very interested in getting in as deep as I can into these programs. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my time at Marvel Entertainment as a video intern. Thanks for watching, and always remember, with great power comes great responsibility. Eric Maiello, signing off.